Hi everyone, I'm Helga Haller. I'm happy to be here today to be able to show you my paintings in this virtual show. So I can take it up. This is the oldest painting in the show. It was done in about 1992 when I had moved temporarily from Ann Arbor to California. And from California we took a lot of trips, and that one was taken, I took a photograph and then painted that back in California. It was taken in Santa Fe, and where we moved much later. I have almost always, my entire life, even as a child, been drawing. And I was thinking about that, what happened with the drawing? Well, I grew up in Germany during the war, and so we didn't have paper or crayons. The only thing available was a pencil. And so in my mother's cookbook, on the blank pages, there are lots of drawings of mine. And those are the only saved ones that, I could show and say, okay, that was it. So that's a watercolor. And this one is next to it is that's actually a print, but it is a print of a watercolor. And it is a view of the Valdez Valley in New Mexico. We lived there for 11 years, or close to 11 years. And our house was on the left side on one of those hills looking over this very agricultural, beautiful valley where they had livestock and horses and sheep and lots of fields that the local people were still working. And if you look near the sky, where the bottom of that V, that is where the road had wound itself through the hillside, because you're looking at hills, not mountains. But beyond that V is where the ski valley is, with elevation of something like 10,000. We lived at 7,500. That's another watercolor. It actually is a scene right around outside of Ann Arbor, near Zeeb Road and I think Miller Road. It was in the fall, and the fields had lots of colorful stubbles. I have enjoyed landscape my whole artistic life. I actually graduated with a major in ceramics, but when I got too old to do all that heavy clay lifting, I switched to painting. Those are two sketches, charcoal sketches, of that same valley that the blue painting, the watercolor was. You can see the same valley with, and this time the view actually shows you some of the higher ridges beyond the valley. Same here, just a vertical view of the rugged mountains and the fields and the little house there in the foreground behind the little house in the fields. Gives you a sense of the scale. And this one is also an image from New Mexico countryside. Very beautiful place to paint, and it was very easy to find subjects there because there's so much more color all year long. Even in the winter there's color there, but the rest of the year especially. That one is another Michigan fields with some trees in the background, but countryside, which I enjoy seeing. I like the shapes, and I like working in watercolor. This one is an older painting in watercolor, and it's actually an abstraction of a gigantic it's like a house plant in Michigan, and in California it grew abundantly outside, and with, you know, big leaves and lots of color, but painted in an abstract, loose watercolor. This painting here, the next one, is actually the most recent one I did, and it was in response to invitation to enter for an online show that was, the topic is racial dialogue. And I had started it, I think in '07, roughly there, and called it Border Crossing. And so when this racial dialogue theme came up, I decided it was appropriate for that. And I worked on it some more, and I think it will be in that online show from the Ann Arbor Women Artists. This is a very recent, quick watercolor study of fields again. I'm hooked on fields. I like the patterns, the shapes, rectangulars, as opposed to the softness of the round trees, and I like the fresh colors. This is an acrylic. I worked for, when I started in California, when we moved there, started in watercolor and then did pastels for many, many years, and eventually ended up working almost exclusively in acrylics. I wanted to get away from artwork framed under glass because of the reflections that always interfered with really seeing the work. And that was my last acrylic. And I'm very pleased with it because it's a step beyond the more realistic like that. It's more abstract, but it still reads as a landscape. And this, yes, that one, both of these, top and bottom, are from New Mexico, where, as I said, the aspens in the fall are incredible, and then the purplish hillsides and mountains, and just very easy to paint in bright colors, which I like. And the one below is another New Mexico landscape, wide open, long views, you know. There you literally could see for miles and miles. And this watercolor was done in New Mexico. It's a canyon, and the scale, to give you an idea of how immense these rocks were in the canyon. These are the size of an apple tree, and they were there, but I made sure they were in there so that you get a sense of the scale. It's one of my favorite paintings. I don't remember when I did it. Midway through, definitely in New Mexico. And these two paintings are related because I did them just about the same month. And it was a bit of an experimentation. I had started these two watercolors, but I wasn't happy with the colors, and they were started in watercolor, and then I experimented with painting gouache in some areas over the watercolor, and I really like that, and I haven't actually succeeded in repeating that particular outcome. It just worked, and I'm happy with it, and they now belong to my daughter, so that's why they're not for sale. This acrylic painting is based on a landscape scene from a castle in Germany. And we traveled to Germany in the 90s, and since I like fields and shapes, it was ideal for me to take some photographs and paint that one and several others. It was interesting in New Mexico when this painting or similar ones were in an exhibition, people thought it was New Mexico. And I never told them that it was really Germany, because they wouldn't have believed it anyway. Did you want to see that one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another little scene in New Mexico. There were just striking sunsets and skies because of the elevation and brightness, and irresistible for a painter. So that's it. I think there are 18. I hope you'll be able to come and see them, or at least enjoy the video. Thank you very much. It was a nice opportunity.